town has a ghost story that's been passed down through the generations. But what if those legends were true? My name is Miranda Young, and I'm the Ghost Biker. Good evening, everyone. Happy August. We're here rolling into almost just a few months out from creepy season, just a few months out from Ghost Biker Explorations Season 6. And we have a fantastic show tonight. I'm so excited about tonight's guest. But you are watching live here on the Ghost Biker Garage, and I am here at the historic and haunted historic Scott County Jail. So we are going to cover a few things that we've got going on. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. Got a lot of different events and a lot of things over here rolling into the month of August here at the historic Scott County Jail. We are almost completely booked up for the month, which is very exciting. We've got flashlight tours, guided ghost hunts, a lot of really cool things. In fact, we're booked almost every night or every weekend here during the month of August. We did have a last minute cancellation for this coming Saturday night. I don't know if you guys saw the post on our historic Scott County Jail Facebook page, but if you are looking for somewhere to investigate and you're here in the East Tennessee area or just looking to take a road trip this coming Saturday night, August 5th, we do have an open date. So if you will reach out to us here at the historic Scott County Jail at 423-663-5353 or check out www.historicscottcojail.com. You can book that date and you can come spend Saturday night evening here with us at the jail. It's kind of rare that we get these dates open up like this, but like I said, we did have a last minute cancellation. We've also got some tickets available for tomorrow night, which would be Friday, August 4th, flashlight tour here at the jail. So if you want to come and hear the history as well as hear some of the different haunting captures that's been captured here at the jail on Friday night, hit me up on our Facebook page or also on the historic Scott County Jail website, and we'll get you booked, get you in here, and we'll have a good old time. Just want to say hello to a few folks over here in the chat room. Hello to Miss Janet Alms from out in Arizona. Thank you so much for always tuning in and being such a great friend. Mr. Brandon Cooper, who's going to be coming and investigating here this coming weekend. Mr. Scott Horn from Horn Paranormal all the way out in South Dakota. And Joe Shortridge from up in Ohio. And then, of course, my beautiful co-host, Sally, who always, without fail, has to walk across the screen and join in on the show. And then, of course, Dark 30 Paranormal. We are looking forward to seeing you guys this weekend here at the historic Scott County Jail. And then, of course, Joe, yes, you do need to make it back here to the jail. I know you had a good investigation when you were here earlier this year. So, just kind of talking about real quick some of the really cool things that we've got coming up as far as investigations and different events and everything that we've got lined up. So first off, we've got the Deep South Paracomic-Con, which is going to be starting on August 19th and 20th. I'm going to pull that up here. That's coming up on us real quick. That's going to be about 2 weeks out. That's going to be taking place in Ozark, Alabama. This is their second annual event. And last year's was so much fun. They had everything from, they had the investigation, they had authors and artists, cosplayers, paranormal investigators, cryptids, lots of lecturers. And this year is going to be even bigger and better. So definitely go on and check that out under the Deep South Paracomic-Con.com. We do have the links to that in the show notes, and we'll be pulling that up throughout the show, or at the end of the show, actually, where you can buy your tickets. I know they've got several different ticket levels, and so you can purchase those on the website as well as purchase at the door. So definitely check that out. It does go to benefit the Ozark, Alabama Boys and Girls Club. And I need to check. There may be another charity that this also goes to. So we'll definitely check before the end of the show here and let you know on that. Also, I do want to share a video. Last week, we talked a little bit about the Spirits of Deadwood event that's going to be coming up in Deadwood, South Dakota. And I am just beyond excited to be a part of this. I mean, there's nothing better than motorcycles and paranormal investigations and the history that's out in Deadwood. I can't tell you how excited I am about this, as well as the charity that this goes to help. So I've got a little video that they've released, a little commercial. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up, and we're going to share that before we get to tonight's guest. So let's see if we can get that queued up here.
The IED that blew the truck was a 20-pound propane cylinder packed with explosive. We ended up losing, that was Wahlberg.
A young guy was just bleeding out. We tried everything. He ended up dying. No. It's tough.
So we'll be flashing the link up there on the page for this, but as you can see, this is such a wonderful cause. Sacred Mountain Retreat does create a place for our veterans with PTSD, for military first responders. These folks are so important, and this is such a great cause. So again, very honored to be a part of a really unique event that goes to raise funds for this location. So we're actually going to have Sacred Mountain Retreat, as well as some of the folks who are involved with this event. We're going to have them on the show here at the end of the month, talking about some of the great things that the retreat center does, as well as this event. I mean, you're going to get to investigate 3 great locations out in South Dakota, out in Deadwood. So stay tuned for that and more information. We'll also have the commercial and such posted on the Ghost Biker Explorations page here after the show, probably, I would say, either late tonight or tomorrow. Also, been on the phone talking to Wildcat Harley Davidson, as well as the London Laurel Tourism Commission, and we are working on the Ghost Biker Explorations weekend that's going to take place October 15th and 16th. Really unique investigation that we're working on getting planned. We will be releasing all of this information tomorrow, so you'll be able to go and purchase tickets for the investigation. You'll also be able to sign up for the motorcycle ride. The motorcycle ride is free, and then information on the meet and greet that's going to take place at Wildcat Harley Davidson in London, Kentucky. And the funds from this investigation goes to the London Laurel Shop with a Cop program. Again, here in rural Appalachia, here in Kentucky, eastern Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina, these areas. The Shop with a Cop program is really important for a lot of our rural Appalachian children. And so very good cause. I know last year we raised right around, I believe it was just under $2,000 for their program. And so we're hoping to raise double that this year. So we will also have a link where you can go on if you can't attend the event. So I want to go ahead. We'll talk more about all of that coming up here as we wrap up the end of the show. But speaking of great causes and great events, my guest tonight, she just does an amazing job with her events. And so I had the honor of going and attending this event here earlier or mid last month. And so we're going to come on, we're going to talk about the event. We're going to talk about the cool things that she's got going on with her other businesses, and just a whole lot of great conversation tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome my guest, the lovely Miss Pamela Barry. Hey, Pam.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming on. And, we were just talking before the show about the event, and I just got to say, it was wonderful to finally be able to meet you in person and spend just a little time. I didn't get to talk to you too much at the event, but I really enjoyed the time that I did.
It was great having you. I was really looking forward to meeting you, and I'm very glad that I did. You're an amazing person.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So let's kind of talk a little bit about the bash. And because I know this year, great attendance, great event. Let's kind of talk about what it is and the causes that this event goes to.
Sure. So the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash was born because I have a military son, and I just wanted to do something, that just like any parent wants to just give back. We're so proud of our children and the men and women who honor us and fight for our freedoms. And I met Helen Sager. She's president of Pennsylvania Wounded Warriors. So we keep our dollars here in the state of Pennsylvania. She's amazing. She, everyone that she touches, you automatically have another hero in your life. And I knew that I wanted to help her and her cause because she's so personal. 95 cents out of every dollar goes directly to a soldier's home. Well, or whether it's their medicine, whether it's vehicle transportation, whether it's getting their houses up to par for their disabilities. It's just so much that she encompasses, the love and caring that she has. And we're also friends with Heroes for Hire. So it's H for H Foundation. And he helps children with cancer and children in crisis. So it's two ends that kind of come together, and it's a weekend of hope and healing. And we just help as many people as we can.
And I mean, it truly was. I mean, because I know while we were there, there was one group that their trailer was damaged whenever they came, and the community came together and basically passed the hat around, and it truly did show just how tight knit this community is and how giving they are, and really how it truly is a weekend of hope and healing.
Yeah, he was in crisis from a natural disaster that happened. And we just knew that we had to make sure that he got safely home. Yeah. And to let him know that how much we love and care about him and his wife. And we wanted them to come back and just be a part of us. And we would do that for anybody who was in need.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, that was a big event. Was this the biggest it's been?
Yes, we started out with 13 vendors, and I was so excited, 7 years ago. And it started in our store, and then next door there was a restaurant called the Pike Restaurant. So we kind of put it all together, and we were out at the historic Baltimore Pike. And this older man who was retiring, we had been chit-chatting through social media, and he said he was going to stop at our event, and then he was retiring. His way home was Lancaster County. And he came on this John Deere tractor, and he had all kind of memorabilia all over it from different functions that he had been to raise money for awareness for PTSD. And he said, you have to keep doing this because you have something here. And we just knew that we had to keep going. And it's grown little by little, and, every year.
How many years have you been doing it now?
7.
Okay. So I know everybody knows and talks about the bash. And I can't tell you how many people I finally got to meet that I've known really throughout the years, just basically living in Facebook and following their lives and following their investigations, to actually be able to meet them in person. And every year I always hear, are you going to be at the bash? Who's going to the bash? So it is a very, I mean, just the reputation that this event has it truly lived up to it.
We really want it to be heartfelt. We say that we're a convention with a purpose. Yep. Then we start out with our fife and drummers on a Saturday morning. And that gets that whole vibration of why we're here. And we hear some of that music that our soldiers heard back on the battlefield. And that kind of just starts our day. And those young men are invited to perform on the battlefield, which does not happen quite often, at the Pennsylvania Monument. That was their second time to do it.
I bet that just brings chills to be able to see that there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. And Sabrina says, amazing cause, amazing event, amazing organizers. I can't wait to be back in 2024.
Thank you, Sabrina.
And then, of course, Scott says, hope to make it to the bash next year.
I hope so. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and I highly, highly recommend that. And, you were talking about starting the bash off. I can't get over Batman and his presentation that he gave. Talk about gathering attention and rallying a crowd.
So Batman, he had his trials as a young man. He will tell you that he was in jail. And when he was in jail, he decided that was not going to be the end of his story, that was the reason for his story. And he's an amazing man. His child, Skylar, and his wife, Rhonda, they all just come together for the cause. So that's our little, we adopt a family member every year to try to help raise funds for them. That's Owen. And he's just amazing. We met his mom, his grandmother and grandfather here at the Hoover House. They were our guests here. And, the universe works in mysterious ways, because they were put here. And then she started to talk about her grandson, Owen, and his needs. And I said, well, wait a minute, we do an event. So that's how we adopted them.
I love that. And this picture that you sent of it gives me chills. That's such a cute picture.
That's my grandson. So every year, John raffles off a trip around Gettysburg in the Batmobile. So this year, my grandson, he bid on it, and his mom put him in the Batmobile, and he got a really amazing time with Batman.
Nice.
It makes me want to cry. So,
And I'm just kind of going through the comments here. So if anyone has any questions or any comments, please feel free, put them over here in the section here, and we'll definitely be sure to pull those up here. And, we have, this year it's been really interesting, because a lot of our guests that we've had on the show throughout the year have been veterans, and some of it's been accident, and I didn't know they were veterans until they sent me their bios, and some of them I did know, and they've tailored their paranormal team around veterans and active military. And so it's been wonderful just to see and to have these folks on on the show. And so whenever there is an opportunity to do an event that works for that cause, that's something that I'm all about.
Yes. Ernie, we'll have a date for everyone next week.
Wonderful. And let's see here. Just looking to make sure that I didn't miss anything on here. Just kind of looking through the pictures that you sent here. We've got a nice little collage here from the event.
That's Helen Sager's ladies at the top. They just come every year. They look forward to it, and they're just amazing, amazing ladies.
Well, I mean, so many people came together, and just the vendors and stuff that you guys have in the event, the vendors, the speakers, the just honestly, just being in Gettysburg and being surrounded by so much history is just worth the trip in and of itself right there.
So, we're actually, when we're having the bash, the Wyndham is actually on battlefield. There was a cavalry clash, and Custer was right there fighting right there. It backs up into the Daniel Lady Farm, and that was one of the largest Confederate field hospitals there. So there's a lot of history that we're actually on.
I honestly didn't realize that until
You notice some people went outside with their voice recorders and just kind of went off by themselves, kind of over near the woods, just kind of sitting there doing EVP sessions. You'd be surprised.
I may have to do that. I tried to take in while I was up there. Of course, when you do these events, you don't always get to step away and really enjoy the sights as much. But I did try to go to Sachs Bridge, as well as I did end up. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I didn't get to go to the Hoover House, but I did stop by the outside, and let me see if I can snapped a couple pictures. But I'm hoping next time I get up into the area that I can make it over to the historic Hoover House.
Oh, we would love that. There we are.
So can we talk just a little bit about this and some of the things that you guys do there at the 1912 Hoover House?
Sure. So the 1912 Hoover House was built in 1912, of course, by the Hoovers. They actually moved in 1913, and it was in the hands of private family for a long time, and then it became a assisted living. And when we closed up of being an assisted living in 1991, the residents went down to the Leland House, which was called Rose Manor. When you're here in the Hoover House, it's that greatest generation that doesn't want to be forgotten. So we've had knocks at the front door from hospice care saying, "Hey, my favorite resident died in your front parlor. Can I please come in and sit?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." And then in our Keystone suite, you'll see a picture of a man in his World War II uniform, and that was his room. And his grandson asked us to put his picture in the room, and I'm honored to have that there.
Absolutely. I know that you all have had quite a few interesting metaphysical events there at that location. To me, it just seems like that location would be just absolutely suited for that.
It does. We have like tarot, tea, and Reiki here, and it is a place of healing. So if people don't want that boo factor, you're not really going to. I mean, it does make you uneasy, of course, because you can hear people with maybe like a walker banging into a wall in the middle of the night. But it's nothing evil or demonic here at the Hoover House. The basement was a speakeasy. It was called the Coal Mine. And we have gotten some really good photography down there. We've gotten where usually when it's about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, that's when things ramp up down there. It's kind of like, go home, get out. And then you do get EVP saying, get out, get out. But yeah, it's all like Dave just said, it's very positive energy here at the Hoover House.
Absolutely. And those are such great places to investigate that's like that, because
I feel like when you come into a place, if your energy level and your vibration is of welcoming and you can be relaxed, I feel that if you're coming into your grandmother's home, you're going to get a lot more evidence than if you're always on edge and you're scared and you don't know which way to turn. I feel like when you feel welcomed, that you just drop all that inhibition and you can just get down to finding evidence, and everybody comes together. And this place has really brought people together from high school who hadn't seen each other, And it was weird because they both rented rooms and they were like, oh my gosh, I went to school with that person. So hi, Deb.
Wow.
It's very odd how it just is like, it draws people back.
I love that. And, for me, that's one of the reasons I think I like investigating hotels and bed and breakfast and really just communities. We run the After Dark tours and the investigations at Historic Rugby as well. And it's the same kind of thing. It's a positive energy, and it's an energy of spirits. They want to be there because they were so happy when they were
Yes.
there before, or at least a welcoming environment. And I like what Dave says, the resident spirits vets everything and do not allow negative energies in.
Mhm. That's very true. We even have a cat ghost. So I have pictures. Well, first I had all this laundry in my hands one day and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to step on the cat. And I'm like, I don't have a cat anymore. It was Steve's
Oh.
cat and she passed away. And it was just like, whoa, wait a minute. And then we became friends with people who run our local SPCA. And they were like, oh, we used to do pet therapy at the Hoover House. Here's some pictures. And there's cats all in where is now our pub, our bar area, but that was their living room. And to see the residents sitting there and enjoying each other's company and in the company of these animals, you can just see that this house was loved for a long time.
Absolutely. And, it seems like today with kind of the push for with a lot of YouTubers and TikTokers and stuff for demonic and negative activity, it really hurts these locations. And I know it's really refreshing to see and hear what you say about your location. Not to say that there's not stuff in other places, but that positive side of things. Yeah, everyone likes a jump scare from time to time and likes to be creeped out, but there's just something so pure and wonderful about that energy when you go in and you have those conversations and just like you said, able to let your guard down. You really
Right.
do seem to get a lot more activity, even in a place like this, a jail that had some of the most negative people. Going in and having a conversation, not even so much talking about what happened and why they're here, but just letting your guard down and having a conversation to get the history, we get a
Right.
lot more evidence because of that.
I believe that. I'm a Reiki master. So when I walk into an investigation, I always like to walk in with things need to be healed sometimes, spaces, places, souls, they're human no matter what they did. Maybe they need that positive affirmation to be able to move on, or, to know that maybe they're afraid to cross over because they're going to be judged, or maybe they're upset because of what they've done. I would hope that if it was my family, that somebody would have the courage and the heart to just step in and just give comfort.
Yeah, because it's not all about that scary, creepy, vibe that a lot of or that not saying anything about someone that does want to come in and be scared, but
I've seen some dark shadows here, but that doesn't mean that it's not a negative. I feel like downstairs in the basement, it's like that bar area, kind of like people drinking. I did get a crazy picture downstairs. And then, we've seen things and heard things upstairs quite a lot. When people are displaced from their home and they are in a nursing home. I worked in nursing homes for a long time. But the nursing home I worked in, there was a lot of love there. And I feel like, there is here too.
That's wonderful. And I've heard a lot of really good things and seen a lot of really good and interesting events that have been held there at the house. And as Dave says here, a lot of guests have told us they felt physically refreshed after leaving, that our spirits are helping them.
Yep. We've heard that quite a lot.
That's wonderful. If somebody wants to stay at the 1912 Hoover House, is it somewhere that you rent as like a one room in the bed and breakfast, or can you rent the whole house?
Either
What kind
way. So you can rent a king or a queen room out, and depending on the clientele that we have in the house at the time, yeah, I mean, they're always welcome to investigate their rooms. But if I have other paranormal investigators, they usually are like, hey, let's go down the basement together. That's great. Or they can rent the entire house and have it as a private investigation.
Okay. And is the best way to do that through the website, Facebook page,
They can,
or
anything they can get on Airbnb. I'm a 16-time
okay.
superhost with Airbnb.
Okay.
Or they can look on booking.com, or they can look on Facebook, or they can call the number 717-521-7465 and rent directly through us.
Perfect. Perfect. And we've got the link to this page here on the show notes, and then you can also go, as it's shown here on the screen, to they've got all the information, email, phone number, everything here on the Facebook page as well. So we'll make sure all of that is updated on there. And I got to say, you're such a busy lady, Pam. Let's talk a little bit about your Ghost of Waynesboro tour.
Cool. So we do a few things. So we have the store.
Mhm.
And so we sell paranormal equipment out of our store and metaphysical. And I have a Reiki room and a classroom upstairs. So we're in a toll house, which actually was a toll. You had to pay to come through Waynesboro. So that in itself, that's a little bit of an experience, just stepping into that history of the store. And then as we lived here, we joined the Historical Society. And we just rediscovered all the history that Waynesboro has to offer. So we were actually the fourth day of the Battle of Gettysburg. So the retreat, the Confederate Army were coming out of Gettysburg, and some of them went towards Cashtown because some of them came in towards Cashtown and they were familiar with the roadage. So they went past David Stewart Farm, came up through Fairfield. Then they held Waynesboro before that, I'm sorry, let me backtrack. So then there was the Battle of Monterey Pass, which was fought on July 4th at night. Thunder, lightning. They couldn't see, the rain was coming down in buckets. And when the lightning would flash, that's when the guys would shoot. That was literally the only time that they could see, was when that lightning was striking.
Wow.
So then they called that Mount Misery. And it's really marked well. When you're up there on Monterey Pass, you can see exactly what happened on this path, what happened over here, and you get a really good history lesson as you're up there. So we have friends that are on the board there. So we actually got 4 dates to have paranormal investigations right on Monterey Pass. So we're raising money for Monterey Pass. There's a building that they want to purchase. So our investigations, although we only have 4 this year, to see how we do, and with that, they wanted to make sure that we were going to be respectful and do exactly what they said. So it's going great. So we're just raising money for them. And then we're raising some money for the Historical Society also. That's the Hoover House. And we're doing walks through Waynesboro to actually have people step and walk down the street and to see the buildings. We do a then and now, and it's about an hour walk.
Wow. I love the then and now when people do that. We try to do that over at rugby, and it's hard, but man, when you can stand in that spot, I mean, there's just something about it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we have a building called the Wayne Building that had one of the first elevators on the East Coast.
Wow.
We show people that. We show people the Confederate headquarters, the Union headquarters, where Fort Wayne was. We actually walk you down into it. It's just a really great piece of history that we're able to offer people.
That's amazing. So the dates for those investigations, I had pulled up here. Is the best place to find those there on the event section of the Facebook page?
Yeah. So that's our next Monterey Pass battlefield. And we usually, our investigations, although they are public, Like we do the Jenny Wayne House, we do the Haunted Orphanage, we do Monterey Pass. I like to keep our events to like 10 or 12 people are
Nice.
just like pushing it to me. But I
Yeah.
like about like 10 people, you know, it's smaller, it's more intimate. We work with each other. We try to get evidence. I don't really like doing an investigation with like 50 people because I don't feel like you can get maybe that's just me.
No, we do the exact same thing here. When we do events, we keep them to 6.
There you
And
go.
yeah, I mean, and we're finding here at the jail teams, we're actually about to decrease. We allow 8 investigators, and we were allowing up to 10, but we're finding the spirits here. They were overcrowded in life here. They don't want to
Gotcha.
be overcrowded and interrogated in death either. And so we would much rather have a smaller, more intimate group so that everyone has a much better experience. Because when you have a large group here or really anywhere else on an investigation, if I have the opportunity for one of my personal events I'm doing, I keep it to 15 or less. And 15 is really pushing it for me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially like if we're in like the Jenny Wade House, like every step, like I think like 5 people in there is enough, maybe
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Like it's so small.
And it's a struggle because you want to get a lot of people to raise money, but then on the flip side, you want the people who do come to have the best experience possible. So I would just rather have the folks have that good experience because then
Yeah.
they're going to want to come back and want to tell other people about it as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
Yeah. So, so if people want to do any of the different events or investigations you guys have coming up, do they just reach out to you all at the store there?
Yeah, they actually that phone number that's on the 717-521-7465, that's my cell phone.
Okay.
Like, so the phone's not going to be ringing somewhere and somebody's not going to be picking up. I'm like, hello.
Right. Exactly. Um, any other big events that you guys have coming up that you want to push at either the Hoover House or Historic Haunts of Waynesboro?
I think we've covered a lot. I think we're going to in October do a zombie ball here at the Hoover
Oh.
House, something fun and different. But you know, for the most part, I think we've covered the events. But now we're on to planning the bash.
And I love that. I love that. So you're not even a month out from it, and here you are getting ready for next year.
Yep. I went around before we left the bash saying, "Are you coming back? Are you coming back?" You know, so
Absolutely. So, so can you tell us anything about how much you guys raised this past year and how many vendors and
absolutely.
stuff you had?
Yep, we raised $20,000. So that
Oh,
goes to support Pennsylvania Wounded Warriors and H4H Foundation.
I love that.
Yes,
Congratulations on a job well
thank
done.
you.
That's
Oh, you know, it's everyone that comes in. I couldn't do it. There's no way that I could do it without the love and support of each and everyone that comes through that door. I know it's become like a family reunion almost. You know, a whole year goes by without seeing some of our friends. You know, I have friends in Canada, West, that comes down. We have a friend in the UK that comes, and the anticipation of just seeing them. You know, yeah, we had 115 vendors this year, and
wow.
the Wyndham said, "That's it, Pam, not one more." I was like, "Okay." She was like, "That's it." So I had to promise.
I mean, that's a lot of vendors. That's a
It
lot of
is.
people, and they did come from all over, which was so cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, we were excited. Came up, represented Ghost Biker and the jail, and my business partner Christy with Soul Sisters. We came up here. It was about a 9.5. It's normally not that long, but it was about a 9.5 hour drive for us. But we hit some crazy weather and crazy traffic on the
Oh,
way
did you?
up. Yeah, and then we tried to go and stop at a couple places along the way back. So I think the trip back took us more like 12, 13 hours just because we were stopping at so many cool places along the way.
I love road trips. That's the best.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so just looking at the comments here, we've got Nancy says, "I love tours, seeing all the architecture and artifacts and feeling the good vibes." And I don't think you can go
Absolutely.
anywhere there in Gettysburg without something to see and do.
Yeah,
Um,
I think as we're in our hustle and bustle of every day, we need to look up and pay
yes.
attention to that great architecture, that gone by era, that when people had pride in like really built things with that heart and soul. I
Mhm.
love architecture. I do. I pay attention to.
And I think, it's sad because so many places have torn a lot of things down, and
Mhm.
they really just don't we don't have the architecture and the character that the locations from back in the day had.
I agree. It's a shame.
I know, I recently just, I'm in the process of remodeling my grandparents' old farmhouse and just moved in there. It was built in 1902,
Nice.
and, it's more solid than any
Mhm.
house that I had lived in, over the last couple years, and it's made of the old barn wood, and my contractor, he had to totally redo stairs inside there so you could get up to the 2nd floor, and he was talking about just how everything is just not square, and it's just
Oh,
it's there's so much character,
character.
and it
Yes.
may be kinda odd in character, but it's so solid, and you just can't find a house like that now.
Yeah, I love that in a house. We just painted this probably like 4 or 5 months ago, all the blue. It was a it was a shade of green, and we decided to start with this one and just give it some of our character to it. So a lot of people in this room are actually from Waynesboro. So I
Oh.
collect portraits, and I have a friend who has an antique shop in town. So when they pick houses in Waynesboro, they usually call me first.
I
So
love
I've got a
that.
picture of a doctor that was a Waynesboro doctor, and I've got a family. So I try to keep this to the heart of the house, kind of, because you're eating
That's
here.
Yes, and that's what I've been trying to do myself is find some of the older pictures from before they added the bathroom to the house and all of that, and really trying to go back and utilize a lot of those pieces. And did you find that when you started painting and doing some changes, did you find a increase in the activity?
Yes. There's someone who tells Steve goodnight almost every night as he's coming out of the kitchen and going upstairs. And then on the third floor in the Primrose, there's a man that says the F bomb a lot, a lot. Yes, we do
Gotcha.
investigations at our local antique store also. And it's always
Oh.
different because there's always different antiques there. So that's a really good investigation place.
Oh, I bet. Do they have do they just reach out to you if somebody wanted to do an investigation there?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Let's see here. And then Deb says, "I'll be back, but I'm just a participant, not a vendor, but always bring my wallet for all the great vendors."
We do have some good vendors. They're all different things from metaphysical to clothing to beef jerky, um,
Yes.
paranormal equipment. It's kind of a little bit of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I left with a lot more than I came with. A lot more equipment and gifts than I came with and a lot less money. So it's absolutely highly recommend going. Let's see. And then Dave also says, and that's one of the reasons the Hoover is still so stunning. The original woodworking is just something you don't see anymore.
Yeah, you just don't. We're blessed. We are,
Yeah.
we are absolutely blessed to be here. And I know that every day when I open my eyes. So it's a labor of love. I know that sounds kind of corny, but it really is. As even like shoveling snow, and I'm not a snow person at all. I don't like to be cold. But I remember last year I was outside, just shoveling a little bit. We didn't hardly get any. But instead of me going, oh my gosh, I was like, I'm so glad that I'm here to do this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
get with it, Pam. Let's be grateful, have some gratitude. It was this much snow. It wasn't that much. And I had the fortitude and the health to do it.
That's
And,
right.
you know,
It's things like that that really make us realize just truly how blessed we are, honestly. I mean, and being able to essentially be a caretaker and be someone that's able to essentially help these old homes to live on, and these stories, it really is a true honor and blessing to be able to do that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And to care for the spirits here too. I
Yes.
really truly believe that we're meant to be here because it just kind of was a very easy thing. We just all came together as a huge team and we decided that this place was the place that we should all be. And we're just blessed, all of us.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Well, we are getting close here to the top of the hour here. So again, if anyone has any questions, comments that you want to add over here, please put those, excuse me, please put those there in the comments, and definitely go and check out the Hoover House. I know that's somewhere I would like to go and investigate next time I'm up there
Yeah.
in the area, and kind of making my bucket list along the way as I was up there. And I gotta say, whenever I went, because we made a special trip to go over and see the Hoover House, but just to be in front of it and to see it, it just has this amazing energy about it. Just right outside on the steps.
This whole town does.
Yeah.
If you just kind of drive down through Waynesboro,
Mhm.
it just really speaks to you.
It really does. It really does. Now, were there was there much fighting in that area?
Waynesboro was held for 15 days by the Confederate
Okay.
Army.
Okay.
And like I said, Monterey Pass is at the beginning
Mhm.
of town, which was that big.
Okay.
And then they had 14 miles of wagons that just came down Mount Misery. Yeah, there was a lot here. And we're built on a
Gotcha.
cavern system. So I think that in itself with the minerals in the ground. So
Mhm.
the caverns run from one side of town down up and through South Mountain, which was used to hide slaves.
Okay. Okay. So just a ton of history in just the whole town.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
We're close to Gettysburg. We're like 22 miles from Gettysburg. We're close to Antietam. We're close to Harper's Ferry. We're really close to Shepherdstown. So there's a lot of times historians will stay here and they do their day tripping
Oh,
and see all the local history.
that's
Yes, there's some
what a
limestone here.
okay, yeah, that was gonna be I was about to pull that up. Yeah, so that's wonderful that there's so much that people can see whenever they're staying
That's
there.
right. There's ski resorts. So there's something to do here spring, summer, winter, and fall.
And you all are open year round
Yes, we are.
there?
Yep.
Okay. And Sonia says, I loved being in Waynesboro last year. I think she said she stayed there at the Hoover House, um, and felt a strong presence in one of the upstairs bedrooms. That's really
There,
cool.
and each one of the bedrooms, like the Holzer, that was the kitchen area. So you see all these beautiful bookcases, but they were their dry goods and that was their kitchen area.
Mm,
So each
okay.
room has something different to offer.
Okay. And let's see here. And of course, Ronnie Anderson says Harper's Ferry was awesome.
It is.
Um, yeah, like I said, we really didn't venture out from the hotel too much, except for one evening we were able to go out. We watched the sunset there at Gettysburg, and then also drove over to Waynesboro to see the house, and just kind of going through the area to see what we could see. Makes me want to get my motorcycle up there and do some motorcycle riding.
Oh, that would be fun. It's perfect for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially, let me just say, the fall is gorgeous here. So is
Oh,
early spring, because you have all the crepe myrtles on the battlefield just starting to bloom. Um, those are
mm.
my two favorite seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll have to see about maybe planning a haunted motorcycle ride up there in the area and
That would be amazing.
doing a stop there at your location. And
That would
I'll
be
get with
amazing.
you about
Okay.
doing setting up a route. I think that would be a lot of fun.
That would be.
Yeah, yeah,
That
for
would be great.
sure. Well, thank you so much, Pam, for coming on here tonight and sharing what you've got going on, sharing about the Hoover House and the success of the Battlefield Bash. Um, Deb, she just says on here, I've ridden my bike to Gettysburg, and I highly recommend.
Yeah, I'll be seeing Deb soon for an investigation.
And then Dave says, and a nice walk through the cemetery on the hill is great too.
Yeah.
Gosh, I tell you, I'm already wanting to plan coming back up there. And is it better to do a ride in the spring or the fall? Do you recommend?
Probably the fall.
Okay, okay. I'll like I said, I'll get with you on that,
Okay,
and maybe
good.
we can get something planned. And like I said, everyone definitely be looking at the events that we've got going on here with the Deep South Paracomic-Con. That's going to be August 19th and 20th, and then of course the Spirits of Deadwood, September 29th and 30th, and then tomorrow we'll be releasing the information on the Ghost Biker Weekend in London, Laurel, Kentucky, October 15th and 16th. So definitely keep an eye out for all of that. And also go on and check out. So you said you're going to be announcing next week the dates.
Yep. We'll be announcing
Okay.
next week.
And do the people need to just go to the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash Facebook page?
I'll have it on my page. I'll have it on their page. And hopefully I'll have the link and people can click on the link to get their room because we do sell out.
Yeah,
But
I would believe that.
I just cannot stress enough. Please press the link because you will save a lot of money going through the link instead of getting it directly from the hotel.
Yeah, I mean, and that was such a good deal on the rooms there at I know we stayed from Thursday night through Sunday night, and just an amazing deal. And it's so nice to just be right upstairs from the
Yes.
convention. Love that. Love
I
that.
love that
So
too.
yeah. So again, folks, definitely go check that out. Try to attend next year. Check out the pages. Again, follow and like our content creators and folks that come here on the show because, I mean, these are the folks that are out in the paranormal community doing things, and it's not easy. It takes a lot of time, effort, money, and just having that support, liking and sharing those pages goes an extremely long way for location owners, content creators. It is something that's extremely important. So go check out the links there in the show notes to Pam's pages with the 1912 Hoover House, the historic haunts of Waynesboro, and we'll also make sure we put these here in the comments. So definitely go check those out so you can know what's going on and attend in person next year. So, and then also, we are not, just a note, we're not going to be having a show next week. We do have a booking here at the jail of a private investigation that night, as well as something going on at rugby. So both my business partner and I will be working next Thursday night and won't have a show. And then, of course, the very next week will be the week of the Deep South Paracomic-Con. I'm going to be there in Florida and Alabama at that point in time. So maybe going live from down there that night. Not exactly sure. But then at the end of the month, we've got several great guests lined up that we've got Rich Valdez that's going to be on. We've also got the event, actually the owner there of Sacred Mountain Retreats, as well as some folks that are with the Historical Society and with the event out there at the Spirits of Deadwood that we're going to be wrapping up the month and talking about all of that that's going on. So a lot of great things here planned for August, and then also just filming of Ghost Biker Explorations Season 6. So Got a really good season of that planned. And of course, the first episode will drop the first Tuesday night in October at 9 p.m. Eastern, followed by a Behind the Screams Live on Thursday night, where we follow up, talk about the episode, talk about the location, and talk about the different things that we captured. So a lot going on, and we hope that you guys will kind of stick around and join us for all of that. So again, thank you, Pam. It's been wonderful to have you
Thank
on.
you for having me. I appreciate it. And Deb said, are either one of us going to New Jersey Para Unity? I would not miss that for the world.
This is the first I've heard on that. I need to look that up. Okay.
Yes,
and that's
please
in
look it up.
November? Okay.
It's in November this year.
Oh,
It's the first weekend.
Okay. That's wonderful. I love it when events kind of, everyone kind of tailors things around spooky season, but I love it when they carry it over on into November. So I'll definitely check that out. Thank you,
Yeah,
Deb.
check it out. Hopefully I'll see you.
Absolutely. All right, Pam. Well, thank you again. And thank you everyone here in the chat room. Like we like to say here, it's like time is probably one of the most precious things we have. And so I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch tonight, and you, Pam, taking the time to come on. So thank you all
for having me. I appreciate you.
All right. We'll see you all next week. Bye.